rumble. Subaru designed it to sound like a boxer pounding a bass drum, right?
Nah, that rumble is pure luck. That boxy roar is just a side effect of cheap, cramped packaging.
You're saying Subaru didn't tune it for character? They just didn't have room?
Exactly. Power models like the WRX and STI came stock with unequal length headers because it was easier to route the exhaust. Short pipe here, long pipe there. Not for sound, just for fit and cost.
So their soulful rumble was just a plumbing hack.
If your hack sounds better than a tin can, maybe you lean into the hack.
Fair, but man, it still slaps. Alright, so the rumble. That's gotta be the pistons punching sideways, right? Boxer engine, boxing match, duh.
Close, but no. The pistons aren't making the sound. They're just the setup. The boxer layout means pistons lay flat, moving side to side instead of up and down like an inline four. Think of it like two dudes sparring on a mat, throwing jabs at each other. The big advantage is balance. Since the pistons move opposite of each other, vibrations cancel out. That makes the engine naturally smooth without needing big balance shafts. And because this is flat, the weight is low, which drops the center of gravity. That's why Subarus feel glued to the ground and why rally drivers love them. The car stays stable while getting tossed sideways through gravel stages at 80 miles per hour.
Okay, but Porsche uses boxers too, so where's their rumble? Why do Subarus sound like they're gargling gravel while Porsches just purr?
Same flat four concept, totally different sound. Which proves it, the boxer layout alone doesn't make the noise. It's smooth by design. The Subaru rumble comes from somewhere else entirely. And it's not the pistons.
Well, plot twist. So the pistons are just the stage, not the DJ.
Exactly. The music starts when we get into the headers. And Subaru stock plumbing, well, let's just say it's interesting.
Speaking of cars that slap, how about a Porsche Cayman GT4?
Yeah, not a Hot Wheels, the real thing. And you can actually win one. Here's how it works. Every donation enters you to win this Cayman GT4. And if you drop $25 or more, you'll score 4x bonus tickets, all while helping veterans and children's charities. Way better than spending money on headers, trust me. Link's right there. Donate, get entered, maybe drive home a GT4. Now, back to why your Subaru sounds like a jazz band on crack.
So if it's not just the pistons, then what's making the magic?
The plumbing. These pipes are right here. Exhaust headers. They're basically the first stop for the exhaust gases, after they leave the cylinders. Think of them as four runners in a relay race, handing the baton off to the exhaust system.
Okay, so four runners. What's wrong with Subaru's team?
Well, one side takes the scenic route, the other takes a shortcut. That's called unequal length headers. One bank of cylinders has long pipes, the other has short pipes. So the exhaust pulses don't arrive evenly. They trip over each other. That's the Subaru rumble. Now, if every pipe was the same length, equal length headers, the pulses will line up perfectly. Smoother sound, more efficient flow, and better scavenging, but no rumble.
So you traded personality for horsepower?
Exactly. Equal length headers free up power at high RPMs, especially for turbo cars. But you lose that iconic offbeat rumble.
What's the point of having a Subaru if it doesn't sound like it's gargling marbles?
Point is, you can't have both. Character or efficiency, pick your poison.
That's the Subaru rumble right there.
Oof, stop. That's not a Subaru, that is a toddler with cymbals. The EJ engine actually has a very specific firing order, 1, 3, 2, 4. Here's how it works. In a flat 4 EJ engine, the pistons fire in this order. Cylinder 1, then 3, then 2, then 4. Normally, with equal length headers, those exhaust pulses would arrive neatly spaced, like clapping in time with a metronome. But with unequal length headers, some cylinders' exhaust pulses take a short path, others take a longer one. So when the 1, 3, 2, 4 sequence plays out, the pulses don't line up evenly anymore. Instead of a steady pop, 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 it turns into that offbeat burble.
So it's like a drummer who knows the beat, but the guitar player is late to practice.
Something like that. The band is following the same song, but the exhaust pulses hit the collector at different times. That's why it sounds rough, uneven, and honestly kind of addictive. And this clears up the myth. People always say Subarus rumble because they're boxers. Wrong. Porsche uses boxers too, but with equal length headers, and they sound smooth. The Subaru's rumble happens when you combine the EJ's 1, 3, 2, 4 firing order with unequal length headers. And it's not just boxers. Any 4-cylinder with unequal length headers can get that same offbeat burble.
Alright, so it's not chaos after all. It's offbeat jazz.
Yeah, jazz written by an engineer who ran out of budget.
Okay, so Subaru must have wanted that rumble, right? Like some engineer was in the back saying, let's make it sound like a rally car straight from the factory.
Not even close. The rumble was never part of the plan. It was just a side effect. The real reason of unequal length headers? Packaging and cost. On turbo EJ engines, the turbos mounted to one side of the block. To keep things compact and cheap to build, Subaru ran short pipes on one bank and long pipes on the other. It saved space, simplified assembly, and cut costs. The sound was just a byproduct.
So you're saying the entire Subaru vibe is just budget plumbing?
Pretty much. They weren't really chasing character, they were chasing efficiency and manufacturing. And when Subi rolled out the newer FA20 and FA24 turbo engines, they switched to equal length manifolds, cleaner emissions, and more efficient flow. But the rumble? Gone.
So Subaru fixed it by killing the vibe.
Yep. The cars got faster and cleaner, but every Subaru meet got a little quieter.
So Subaru fixed the exhaust flow and killed the vibe. So it's as smooth as a Civic.
Exactly. But that's where the fans stepped in. Subaru might have moved on, but the community refused to. In the 90s and 2000s, Subaru's rumble became the soundtrack to rally. Those blue and gold Imprezas, they sounded like thunder ripping through the forest. The rumble turned from an accident into a signature, a brand identity. Once that sound stuck, it defined Subaru's culture. If you pulled into a car meet with equal length headers, people didn't think, oh, more power. They thought your car was broken. That's how strong the identity was.
Man, it pulls harder now, but it doesn't feel like a Subaru anymore. It's like I traded my Boxer for a Prius.
Welcome to the land of efficiency. Gains on the dyno, zero gains on the soul.
Screw that. The rumble is the whole identity. Aftermarket gets it. Unequal length headers aren't just pipes, they're passports. Without the burble, you're just another four-cylinder blending in with traffic.
And that's how cheap engineering compromise turned into holy scripture. Subaru didn't make the rumble a religion. The fans did.
Yeah, it's faster, but listen to it. It sounds like every other four-banker out there. Nobody's turning their heads for this.
That's the reality of equal length headers. Better exhaust flow, quicker turbo spool, more top-end power. On paper, it sounds like the smart choice. The engineers smile, and the dyno numbers look clean. But car culture isn't just about paper. Unequal length headers give you that offbeat rumble, a heartbeat. Sure, you're leaving maybe 10 to 15 horsepower on the table, maybe sacrificing a little efficiency. But you're gaining a voice. That sound is worth more than numbers to a lot of people.
Exactly! You roll up to the meet with that thunder, people notice. You roll up smooth and quiet, you blend in.
And that's why the community split. Tuners go equal length chasing lap times. Enthusiasts stick with unequal for the culture. It's not about what's better, it's about what matters to you.
So what's it gonna be? 15 more horsepower? Or a car that sounds like a rally stage on wheels?
Do you want bragging rights at the track? Or respect at the car meet? Pick your poison. So here's the truth. The Subi Rumble was never designed to be music. It was the byproduct of packaging and cost. But combine a flat 4 engine, a 1324 firing order, and unequal length headers, and you got one of the most recognizable sounds in car culture. What started as an engineering compromise became a calling card. Subaru didn't invent the religion, their fans did. The Rumble became identity, culture, and pride. It's not the fastest way, not the most efficient way, but it's the Subaru way.
So basically, the Subaru Rumble was one big beautiful accident.
Yeah, the happiest accident in motorsport.
And that's why you still hear it echoing at meets, rallies, and on the street. Because sometimes personality beats perfection.
And that's the truth.